The college basketball experience, West Virginia Mountaineers 2022-23 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, presented by WynnBET. Bet $100 at WynnBET and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by the SGPN merch store. Use the promo code NFCBeast for 15% off, active until the Eagles or Giants lose their next game. And let me tell you, they have some great campus edition t-shirts there. So college basketball, college football fans, check it out. I think you'll dig it. And then when you do that, remember to let it ride.
What's up, everybody? This is Cameron Krog from Loyola Chicago Ramblers, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride. Shout out to the Broad Stop. Thank you, guys.
Yes. Woo-wee. Welcome to the college basketball experience, West Virginia Mountaineers 2022-23 season preview episode. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dad, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy.
Let's go to Morgantown, one of the greatest towns to sit back and watch some college sports. If you ask me, and I am joined by a guy very familiar with Morgantown, former video coordinator for this very team I speak of, for Bob Huggins, Hall of Fame basketball coach, and for the West Virginia Mountaineers. Give it up for my guy, Ryan McIntyre. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing good, Colby, and we saved the best for last. This is preview number 10 of 10 in the Big 12. Mountaineers, baby.
I see you got the Mountaineers shirt on. Hell yeah, man.
Absolutely.
And look, also check out Ryan's work, folks. Ryan hosts the NFL Gambling Podcast. He's also got the Ryan and Rush Show. You see it in the backdrop there. Check out those shows. Ryan always does great work. And I know Bob Huggins. Look, this is fantastic because I get to peel back the curtain and say, hey, this guy was part of the program there. All right. Look, I mean, you were working for one of the greatest coaches. Look, Bob Huggins' record. I have the stats here on the screen. Subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. He's 326 and 188 in 15 years at West Virginia, where he actually played as well, right? 916 and 399 overall. Folks, he has won 916 games. He just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. I know that's got to be awesome. How was it? A working for Huggy, and also seeing Coach Huggins go to the Hall, man. That's got to be awesome, right?
It really was. And, we can read off his accolades, all the draft picks, all the Final Fours, the conference championships back at Walsh, Cincinnati, Akron, Kansas State. But, he's just a regular guy, and he was the best boss I could have worked for. He let you do your job. He gave you freedom. And he's just a better person than he is a basketball coach, which is quite something considering how much success he's had.
Yes. And I love hearing that because me as a college basketball nerd my whole life that just loved college basketball, I always dug those Cincinnati teams. And one of the things I loved about Bob Huggins, and I think it's a credit, I've never met Bob Huggins, but I love the way his teams play basketball. They would always attack the defensive side, side of his teams were to me, they were built on defense and rebounding and hard work. And I think in 2022, sometimes we can forget about what it takes to get, he's a model of that. Look at all of his teams, even the teams to me that are that have a bad season. You go and watch them and they play 100%. And I I take my hat off to that. To me, I can watch a Bob Huggins coach basketball game, whether they're 3-25, which hardly ever happens, by the way, or whether they're, in the Final Four. So, you got to witness it every day. Well, what do you think makes that so special there? Because it's wherever his stops are. It's not just you spent 1 year at K-State. I saw it at K-State. There's something about what he preaches that gets through, and all of his teams have that reputation, and I find it refreshing, especially in 2022. We could talk about players leaving abruptly, and I don't care. You watch his teams play, and they play hard, and I love it. But what do you think all that is?
I think it's just the culture that's instilled there wherever he's been. I mentioned his stops before this, but it's every single day. I know a lot of people say, hey, man, we work hard. Yeah, they don't compare to West Virginia and Bob Huggins's program. I mean, and then you mentioned it. I mean, he's actually does it the right way. There's a lot of coaches out there that are quite frankly full of shit, and they don't do it the right way, and they buy players. And, I mean, they have more talent than Huggs, but since Huggs does it the right way and his culture set the way it is, he beats those teams. I mean, you look at how many upsets he's pulled over his tenure in Morgantown.
And as a guy that watches the sport from a bird's eye view, I want to root for those teams. I always want to root for those teams where you see hard work pay off, even if they don't end up winning the national championship. Like I said, you could take last year's team or a team from his past that didn't even make the NCAA tournament, and I would say I would still rather watch that and rather cheer for that than so many other teams where they have done something like that, but like pay a player or just in general not give the effort. I don't know. I just love watching West Virginia, and I think it's so cool that you got to work for a college basketball legend and just a guy that I think is completely underrated as far as coaches go. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about this team because looking at everything from what would you grade last season? I know you were a part of it. I know, but what was what do you think they could have done better? I know you were with the program, so I obviously this is a tough question because you're affiliated with the program. But is there certain games? Was there some close losses where we thought you had wins there? When you look back at last season, what's the overall recap? I would say.
Well, I mean, obviously disappointing. The expectation here in Morgantown, because of how good Huggs has been over his 15 plus years now, is NCAA tournament or bust. And I mean, he's brought this program to that level. And you mentioned it. We lost a lot of close games just going right through it. I mean, lose to Texas by 1, Iowa State by 3, K-State on the road by 5, Baylor by 4. Baylor twice. I mean, lost to Baylor by 9 as well. And then a couple other games, bunch of single-digit losses. But the main thing, I thought, we weren't good enough defensively. And when you think of Bob Huggins' teams, I mean, A, you got to be really good defensively, and B, you got to win the rebounding battle. And we just didn't do that as well. And we couldn't score the ball inside. I mean, you think of all the good bigs that Huggs has had, whether it was at Cincinnati with Kenyon Martin or at West Virginia with Devin Williams, Kevin Jones or Sagaba Kanate, you take your pick, Derek Culver. I mean, he's a coach for the bigs. So they got some bigs coming in now that I think are going to fill that void. And then I think they're going to get back to defending and rebounding this year, which is what the culture of West Virginia basketball is.
I love it. Love hearing that. You look back at last season, 16-17 overall, but folks, you got to remember they're in the Big 12. That's the best conference in college basketball of late, at least the past decade. 4-14 in the Big 12. They were just 42% ATS. So obviously gamblers saying, hey, come on. But adjusted offense, they were 77th, adjusted defense 63rd, 230th in shooting the three, 115th in offensive rebounding, and surprisingly here, 346 in defensive rebounding. I know you alluded to the toughness there and getting better rebounding. 152nd in free throw shooting, 122nd in pace, and 158th in turning the ball over. So kind of middle of the pack, a little bit better actually. So that was last season. You look at what is left Morgantown, and welcome to college basketball in 2022, because, first off, they lose Taz Sherman, who was very good for them. Very good player for them. 18 points per game, 35% from three. Sean McNeil goes to Ohio State. That was tough to see. 12 points per game, 37% from three. Malik Curry graduated, 10 points, 2 assists. And then the big one that I think surprised a lot of people was Jalen Bridges transferring to in-conference foe Baylor. And then you lose some other role players. You lost Cottrell to UNLV, and then three other guys moved on, graduated, ran out of eligibility. What do you make of all that left? And you got to see was the program a bit shocked when Bridges and McNeil left, or did they see the writing on the wall? What do you think?
I think in this day and age, you're never shocked anymore. We just saw it the year before that when Oscar Tshiebwe leaves for Kentucky in the middle of the season for a team that was, in the top 10? That's unheard of. But that's just, that's the way it is nowadays, I guess. You and I guess we're dinosaurs, and we don't agree with it, but it is what it is, and that's where we're at. But, it was we had a talented team last year. It just couldn't finish games, like I said, and it would just lack toughness. That's just the reality of everything. So I think this team, but we lose a lot, but you know what? We got a lot coming in, and this isn't the first time this has happened to a Hugs roster where, like, for example, in 2014, you lose Aaron Harris and Terry Henderson, 2 out of the top 3 scorers. The next year you go to Sweet 16. You went to, and go to West Virginia. So he's done this before. It's not his first rodeo. He can play multiple styles, whether it's a 1-3-1, West Virginia. He's shown the ability to adapt to whatever his roster needs to win.
Yeah, and I almost feel like I feel like times when you have a roster sometimes with other expectations, and the team that doesn't have the expectations ends up better than the team with the expectations.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about what's incoming, because Trey Mitchell via UMass went to Texas. Now he's going to Morgantown. And I think he left abruptly, right, in Austin. 9 points, 4 rebounds a season ago. Then a familiar face, Emmett Matthews, who went out to Seattle, played for the Huskies, comes back to Morgantown, 12 points, 5 boards. So familiar with Coach Huggins, coming back home. And then you have Eric Stevenson, who I think you could say somewhat familiar with, the style at least, because Frank Martin, Stevenson played with Martin down there at South Carolina a season ago. He was also at Wichita. 12 points, 5 boards, 33% from 3. And then you get you got a JUCO transfer in Jimmy Bell. You got Joe Toussaint from Iowa, who played some solid ball there. You got a JUCO coming in, Muhammad Wagu. You also got another JUCO transfer in Pat Sumnick. Probably butchering these names. Apologies. And then you have a couple of one top 200 recruit named Josiah Harris out of Canton, Ohio, and then Josiah Davis, the number 212 recruit in the country out of West Virginia. It's a lot coming in, but hey, I like it. What do you make of all that?
I love the new group coming in. I was there when they were coming back coming back for Emmett, that is. So it's good to have Emmett back. Emmett's a good vet, knows Hugs, knows the staff, knows the culture. He can help these new guys that are coming in and implement things. Trey Mitchell, he's talented. Everybody remembers him from Texas. And I had talked about how we missed some free throws down the stretch in games. Well, you know how to fix that? You go get the number 1 free throw shooter in the country, Eric Stevenson, 98%, 61-62. And like you said, me and him, I actually work for Frank Martin as well. So me and him are both Frank Martin guys. So Frank must have been yelling at him during that free throw. That's why he missed the 1.
Right. Tough. All right. Better off missing 5 than just 1, because they're going to give you a hard time all year on the 1. Right.
Exactly. So Eric, you better make all of them this year. The name everybody should keep an eye out is the big fella, Big Jimmy Bell. He's transformed his body. He's going to have a huge year. And like I said, Huggs is going to throw the ball inside.
Oh, I'm excited for it. I am here for it all. We're going to project the starting five, but before I get to that, I want to got to get us paid, all right? I want to tell you the college basketball experience, West Virginia Mountaineers 2022-23 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, presented by WynnBET. Bet $100 at WynnBET and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by No House Advantage. No House Advantage is changing the game by offering the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. You can play and pick up contests versus other people for a shot at winning $250K in cash. Download the app, choose a contest, select your player props, earn points for corrected picks, and climb up that leaderboard for your shot to win big money every single day. You can also test your skills versus the house and win 20 times the amount of money you enter if you hit all your picks. It's not just NFL, it's NBA, it's MLB, it's PGA, it's MMA, it's NASCAR. So sign up now with the promo code SGPN at nohouseadvantage.com or download the app on the App Store, or in the App Store, I should say, to get a first deposit match up to $25. We're also brought to you by Babbel. If you're like me, maybe you fell asleep in your high school Spanish class, block scheduling, and caught up on a lot of sleep because those classes were like 3 hours long. I do regret that. I regret not learning Spanish, even though I wasted a lot of time essentially. And it's great. Babbel's basically offering you a mulligan. You get to do it over again. With Babbel, what I love about it is it's sold more than 10 million subscriptions, which it's a quality product. It's not just some guy in his basement recording Spanish, right? No, but it also has 10-minute lesson plans for someone like me that was in block scheduling. I thought that was overwhelming, that much language. I was like, okay, but 10-minute lessons within 3 weeks will have you having real life conversations in a new language. Other language learning apps use artificial intelligence for their lesson plans, but Babbel lessons were created by over 150 different language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Not computers. Their teaching method has been scientifically proven to be effective. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, French, Italian, and German. So right now, start your new language learning journey today with Babbel. Get 55% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/SGP. That's BABBEL.com/SGP for 55% off your subscription. Babbel, it's language for life, people. All right, we're back talking West Virginia hoops. I'm very excited to see the future of this program here. I mean, this year, I got a good feeling about him this year. I got a good feeling, and projecting the starting five, which is never easy, but I feel like here we might have, we might have nailed it. I got a hunch. So first off, I would assume, now you said that you just told me about a player to watch out for in the post, correct?
Yeah, I was going to say you could slide everybody up one and slide him in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder then who would drop out then?
I'm going to go. Do you want me to read?
Yeah, I want you to tell me what you think the starting five will be. Obviously it doesn't matter if you're wrong, because college basketball projecting the starting five in 2022 with 35 transfers out on every team, it's a little bit of pissing in the wind here. So,
and one thing with Huggs, like if it's not working, he's going to fix it. So he's going to tweak his lineup if he needs to. If I had to say today, I'd probably go Kedrian Johnson at the 1. He's a veteran. Eric Stevenson, touch on him at the 2. Emmett Matthews, he's been in the program 3. Trey Mitchell at the 4, and then Big Jimmy Bell at the 5. I think Huggs actually will go bigger than I thought he might go.
Love it. That means Toussaint coming off the bench, which is a skilled player to have coming off the bench. Where do you think that? I mean, that to me is a very good starting five, though. I think that can win games. I know the Big 12 is a true grind, but when I've previewed with West Virginia, I would have previewed every other team in the Big 12, and I think it's a starting five that's compatible with the rest of them right there. So I think that they can win a lot of these games. It'll be interesting to see how the season shakes out. I'm not going to have you forecast that, because I know you're affiliated with the program, and I don't want to hot potato you on that. But I want to take a look at the schedule, and I'll tell you what I will be projecting. And look, if they want to come tweet me, call me a fucking idiot, cool. All right. But let's hop into it because West Virginia opens the season against Mount St. Mary's on Monday, November 7th. And guess what? I think Coach Huggins will be getting his 917th win. Then they take on, this one's great. I'm glad to see this back on the schedule. I mean, it's not like it's been off the schedule, but I loved it when they were in the same conference. Backyard brawl on the hardwood in Pittsburgh yet again, just like the football game. We get this the first week of college basketball. I'm a big fan of this game being scheduled. Shout out to the athletic director. Jeff Capel, I know they're battling something right now with Dior Johnson, some legal troubles, but I got Dub V winning in Pitt. I'm not saying this is not a sympathy play. I believe if you were not on this show and I was asking if I was just doing the show, I would give Dub V a win there. So I got him 2-0, taking on Morehead State next. Morehead wasn't bad last year. Morehead was not bad last year. I got them winning that, though. Come on. In Morgantown, the place gets lit. Then Penn comes into town. Ivy League schools, they're never as easy as you think it's going to be. I know you think, oh, great, we got an athletic advantage in every category. Well, sometimes that can bite you because they're well coached. But I got them 4-0 to start the season, and then comes the Phil Knight Legacy tournament going on in Portland, Oregon, and now things get interesting. The Boilermakers on November 24th. This is an interesting matchup because I kind of think Painter has a similar style. I feel, well, not last year, but I feel like a lot of years they've had a similar style. Purdue, they still got Edey, that giant guy. They lose Ivy, obviously. They lose Hunter. You know what? Let's go. Give me a dub. Give me a dub right there against the Boilermakers. Then they get Gonzaga or Portland State. I got a feeling that one's going to be Gonzaga. No disrespect to the Vikings, but this is where, unfortunately, it's in Portland. This is going to be a home game for Gonzaga. I'm on the Zags. I'm sorry. I'll be rooting for you, West Virginia. All right. I'll paint my fucking face blue. All right. Then they will get there's so many good teams in this thing. They'll get either Duke, Florida, Oregon State, or Xavier. I'll just say this. They're capable of going 2-1 in this tournament. They're capable of going 3-0, but I think more realistically 2-1 or 1-2. I can't see them not winning a game because I think they're vastly better than Oregon State. I think they're vastly better than Portland State. And I think they're better than Florida right now. And Xavier, obviously Sean Miller returns a bunch, so they're kind of an interesting team to me. Obviously Duke's bringing in this crazy class. So I think West Virginia could beat Duke. It just matters how fast those kids grow up. But I'm going to say 2-1 in the Knight Legacy. What do you make of that right there?
That'd be great. What a field. That's not Cupcake City there. And then you mentioned Xavier. Look who they got coming out of the PK. First came out of it. This
could be great. I'm sorry.
Bob Huggins going back to Xavier.
Yes, this could be great. I almost want them to get Xavier on the 27th, right? And then I want them to get Xavier again because to me, playing the same opponent over and over, the games get heated. It's just better for the sport. Like, I honestly think some of the things that bother me about college basketball, shout out to the Big 12 because they still play every team twice, but a lot of other conferences don't. And I think you miss that. Some of those, I know Duke Carolina still does twice, but there are other matchups in the ACC because of the 15 teams where you don't get both matchups. That's fantastic. So December 3rd, Cincinnati, Ohio. Gosh, these Xavier Cincinnati games used to be so incredible.
Yes.
When Huggins was there, Oh man, at Cincinnati, and you're playing in the Skyline Chili Classic, what the hell they call that rivalry now. I will say, man, that's going to be a tough place to go into and win, though, man. That place, they do get lit for that. Okay, so through November, because this is December 3rd when they go to Xavier, I got them sitting at 5-2, 5-2, or 6-1 through November. At Xavier, I think I take Xavier, man. They return a veteran team. I was high on that. I called for them on this very show, saying they deserve. Everyone was talking about Buzz Williams and Texas A&M missing the tournament. I was like, Xavier was the best team that didn't get in. And they're like, yeah, well, they were cold down the stretch, which they were. But I think I was correct because Xavier then went and won the NIT. I think that makes me correct. All right. I'm just going to go ahead. I don't know that's not, there's nothing official there. I'm just going to go ahead and state that makes me correct. So I'm going to give them a loss there, but I can't wait to watch that game. That game is fantastic. Then the Navy midshipmen come to town. Watch out. Navy's not as bad as they used to be, man. They knock off Virginia a couple years ago. They'll beat Navy though. Then, oh man, this is a fun one. UAB, Andy Kennedy squad. This is a fun matchup. This is a return game too, right? You guys went to Birmingham this year, right?
Yeah, it was a war.
That was a wild game. I got you winning this one. This place will be lit, but UAB's good. I wouldn't be surprised if they're dancing this year. Then the Buffalo Bulls coming. This is a good out-of-conference schedule. Buffalo's good. I got you taking down Buffalo because it's in Morgantown. I got you taking down Stony Brook. So then conference play starts. So that would put you at what out of conference? I would get you what 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-1 in December. So altogether, what 10-2, 10-3, or 11-2, or 10-3. Then comes the matchup right before conference, or right before the New Year. On New Year's Eve, Kansas State West Virginia heads into Manhattan, Kansas. Whew, Huggins once coached at K-State. This place will be lit. I got West Virginia winning this though. Jerome Tagg's first game in the Big 12. I think huge edge to Bob Huggins in West Virginia, even though they're on the road. So I got to ask you, what do you think about? Am I doing that? You think that's fairly honest right there? I know you can't call the games, but I'm saying like you could see. Is there anything outrageous right there that I stated?
No, I mean, I had them undefeated, obviously.
I understand that. Look, when we go to East Carolina, I say they're going to win every game. They could be playing the 72 Dolphins in football. I'll be like, hey, we got this. So I will ask you this part, though. But first, let me get us paid because I want to talk about the 2023 schedule. What is the toughest part of the schedule this 3-game stretch that I try to pick out a 3-game stretch where, it'll be the hardest 3-game stretch, but if they could steal a game or two and build that resume for the tournament, and a 3-game stretch that fans just can't miss, we will get to that. But first, I got to get us paid one more time. I want to tell you that the college basketball experience, West Virginia Mountaineers season preview, on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Fubo TV. If you watch football or basketball, you need Fubo TV. Fubo TV gives you complete coverage of college and pro football and basketball. They got everything. They got the NFL Red Zone. They got games in 4K at no extra charges, over 100 channels of live sports and entertainment for a fraction of the price of cable. You can watch it on all your devices. Never miss a game or an episode with the included cloud-based DVR that they give you. Plus, there's no contract. There's no commitment. You can cancel at any time. Right now, you can try Fubo TV for free for 7 days and get 50% off your first month. Just go to FuboTV.com/SGP. That's FuboTV.com/SGP. We're also brought to you by OddsTrader. OddsTrader is a place to compare odds from all the major sports books. You also can compare the different sign-up codes and promo codes from sportsbook to sportsbook to ensure that you get yourself the very best deal possible. The app also provides player stats, key game stats, injury reports, projected game day weather. It has a bet tracker so bettors can keep records of all your games and betting activity. It organizes it for you, which I love. Go to oddstrader.com/BlueWire. OddsTrader, the number one site for all your game day bets. All right. I'm not having you pick because I know you got them undefeated winning the national championship, but I will say this: you of all people will know what first off, you know what a gauntlet the Big 12 is. And then, you I think you'll have a pretty good idea of like a 3-game stretch. Oh man, I always forget about this SEC Big 12 challenge. I forgot, out of conference, Auburn is also coming to Morgantown on January 28th. Oh, Bruce Pearl, Bob Huggins, sign me up. That's going to be an awesome game. If this was in Auburn, I would say Auburn's going to run away with that, but it's in Morgantown. I could see an upset here. I'm going to go with an upset special. Give me Dub V with the upset over the Tigers. This place is going to be bananas. I will light a couch on fire all the way here in Los Angeles. All right, let's go. So what I was trying to tell you before I saw that SEC Big 12 Challenge game, is there a 3-game stretch where you go, okay, well, if we can get, first off, like the 3-game stretch should be the hardest part of the schedule, but you can sit there and talk to yourself saying, hey, if we get 2 of these 3, our resume is going to be good enough to get into the NCAA tournament, because these are high caliber wins. It might be a gauntlet. It might be extremely hard for these 3 games, but what do you think when it comes down? Because I have mine picked out. I'm curious if it would be the same as yours.
Well, first off, if like they come out of this 2-3 losses in the non-conference, they've put them set with how hard that schedule is compared to others in the country.
Yeah,
they're going to be probably number 1 in strength of schedule. So if they can just have 3 or less losses in the non-conference schedule, they put themselves in a good opportunity to make the NCAA tournament come selection Sunday. I mean, you take your pick with this league. You could go right off the bat with Kansas and Baylor back-to-back at home, but I'm not going to go to that one just because those are the games that they can get that one at home at the Coliseum. Everybody knows how good a home atmosphere. I'm going to go on the road just because they're at such a disadvantage with the travel schedule, and I'm going to go mid-February, the dog days, where they got to go to Austin and Waco in a 2 out of 3 day stretch, February 11th and 13th. Then you got to come home and play that Texas Tech ball,
yes,
man.
That's the same one I had. I had
Jesus
this circled.
Christ.
We did not talk about this pre-episode. Look at that. February 11th, they're in Austin, Texas at the Moody Center. Then they go to Waco to take on Baylor. So you're talking Baylor's going to be top. I mean, I would be very shocked if Baylor was now top 10 for the whole season this year. Then you come back home. Oh, great. We come back from this crazy road trip all the way over in Texas, and we get to play Texas Tech. That's not fun. But it does. There's 2 ways to look at this. It's the gauntlet, but I also see opportunity. Even if you get upset by Iowa State or Kansas State, one of these games, well, guess what? The next game, you can get back on the right side of things because you have chances to beat to stack up your resume. I had the same 3 noted there. I'll put it like this. I'm not going to ask your projection for West Virginia on the way they will align in the Big 12, but if you've listened to our other pods, first off, go listen to all of our previews. And remember, throughout the year, you will hear me and Ryan talking college basketball. When the season tips, I'm talking every night. So subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. We've been doing this for years, handicapping games, and not only handicapping games, though. It's not all gambling based because I'm a diehard college basketball fan. We are diehard college basketball fans. So we'll just be talking about great matchups and what we wanted to see. So subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. But so I have Baylor at 1. I know Kansas fans already got on me on Twitter, right? I had Kansas at 2. I mean, this is the Big 12. This is a hard thing to like. This is like cracking a code. You know what I mean? Like if you could figure out the perfect pecking order in the Big 12, you're probably going to be, you should be involved with a space program or something, because at 3, I'm going, and I've changed. I did Benedict Arnold this thing. You know what I mean? At 3, I went with Texas. I switched. I had Texas Tech in there, but after previewing Texas Tech, I go, you're right, Texas is better. At 4, I went TCU. At 5, I went Texas Tech, but I'll be honest. When I preview West Virginia here, when I preview Texas Tech, I could see West Virginia being better than Texas Tech. So I'm going to call for it. Give me the Mountaineers at 5, Texas Tech at 6. Then you'll have to listen to the rest for the rest of the order there. But,
good tease there.
But I got them 5th, man. I got them 5th. I got them making the NCAA tournament, and my ceiling for West Virginia, best case scenario to me, Sweet 16. I think Sweet 16, you should be, maybe if the right matchup happens, you could get into the Elite Eight. But I think this is a team with, I think the odds are most likely, best case scenario, that it would be a Sweet 16 team. I could also see them, on the bubble, waiting for selection Sunday there. But I cannot wait for West Virginia hoops. I cannot wait to see, another year of Bob Huggins coach basketball. And I really am excited to have you as part of the team on the College Basketball Experience because, I feel like I'm learning from you, man. You were you were there with a Hall of Famer. You know who I was with? I was with fucking idiots up the street. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to talk hoops and follow West Virginia closely. And I really hope, like we said, beginning of the episode, I like to see hard work paid off. I don't like seeing teams cut corners and stuff. I like to see it. I'm going to be rooting for West Virginia. Folks, subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. Also, remember, subscribe to the College Football Experience because we talk West Virginia. Look, there was already a backyard brawl preview. I know what happened in that game. I don't want to talk about it too much, but we talk college football year round. I think you'll dig it. Check out the College Football Experience. And remember, we come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. You can watch us every single week. So subscribe over there. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. They always do great work over there. That's the thing that started all of this for us. So check out that. Check out the NFL Gambling Podcast because Ryan here, he's a host of it. You might know his Big 12 basketball and West Virginia basketball and college basketball in general, but he knows a lot more. He's got the Ryan and Rush Show, which I strongly urge you to check it out. You see that backdrop there, Ryan and Rush Show. So check that out. Give Ryan a follow on social media at Moneyline_Mac. I put it up on the screen there if you're watching on YouTube. If not, it's at Moneyline_Mac. And yeah, you're going to hear a lot more from him. And we're excited about the future here. So check out all those podcasts. Get the SGPN app in the App Store, Google Play Store. And yeah, cannot wait. November 7th, the season starts. Cannot wait. This is the College Basketball Experience. West Virginia Mountaineer style. You better start thinking about yours. And we are just about out of here now.
Morgantown, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Morgantown. Morgantown, WV. Morgantown, WV. Pittsburgh Panthers, a bunch of wimps. They ain't